Okay, for the next lesson, we are going to look at white noise risers or white noise uplifters, whatever you want to call them. So in the last lesson, we looked at pitch uplifters, and what that did was started on the note C, the tonic note of the chord, and moved up 4 octaves to a C, 4 octaves above, over time to kind of create like a pitch riser, a pitch lift in the song, okay? In this next section, we're going to look at white noise risers. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new MIDI track, and I'm just going to rename it to white noise. It's really handy to label your tracks just so you know what they're all called. And then I'm going to bring Massive onto this track. Now, last lesson we used these pitch oscillators. So the oscillators basically create pitches for your piece of music. But this time we just want to look at the noise generator down the bottom left-hand corner. So I'm going to turn these oscillators off, and then I'm going to turn the amplitude of the noise up. So now when we hear it, it just makes like noise sound. So if that's a really low rumble, I'm just going to turn the color up a little bit. And you can just hear noise like so. All right, we're going to make use of macros again. And what I'm going to automate is this color knob to turn up from about here all the way to full. So if I play that and demonstrate that just manually. So I might start a little bit lower. So I'm going to use a macro for that. Okay, so I'm just going to drag the macro over to the slot underneath color, the first one left, and I'm just going to click on the number 1 and drag up. Okay, so now when I turn this macro, it actually turns this knob up from here to here. Okay, so that's the first step of creating a white noise riser. The next thing we need to do is make sure we filter it. So we want it to, it's pretty much like we did last time, we want to filter out all the low frequencies, but then let them come in over time. So we'll filter out all the frequencies, sorry. So we're going to use that low pass 4 again. And we're going to just add the macro to the cutoff. And we're going to click on the number and drag up. So what happens now as this turns up, it turns this up, so the color this much, and turns the cutoff up all the way at the same time. So let's just have a listen now as I do it manually. Okay, we also want to automate the resonance. So I'm just going to click and drag the same macro up here, and we're just going to do it about a quarter. So we'll have a listen to that now. Yep, and we could maybe go a little bit further with that. We'll see how it works with the reverb we add later. All right, before we do that though, I'm going to add a hard clipper, and what this will do is just kind of boost the sound. So I'm going to crank that all the way to the top and turn it up about, I don't know, a third of the way, and that'll just make the sound of this white noise riser a little bit thicker. I'm going to add a dimension expander to this. Again, I just want to make it thicker. I'm going to turn this up halfway. I'm going to turn the size all the way up to make it really big. And then I'm going to add just a reverb, turn the dry wet up to about halfway, turn the density and color just up a little bit. And then I'm going to turn the EQ on by clicking this blue light here. And I'm going to just turn the low shelf down a little bit and the high shelf up. So now when I raise this, it will create a bit of a rising effect. So let's just hear it, and I'll do it manually again. Just going to turn the resonance down a little bit because it was just creating a bit of popping there. So now if we look up in the top right corner, we might just have to adjust the master volume. It might not be loud enough for the rest of our song. It might be too loud. So let's just have a look. So as you can see here, it's only going to halfway. So we might just want to crank that master volume a little bit so it's a little bit louder. Now it's too loud. Just going to bring it down so it doesn't hit the red as it goes up. Still too far. That's better. All right, so there we have it. That's our white noise riser. But now we have to add the automation. So to start off, we'll add a MIDI clip, and we'll do it in conjunction with this first build up here. Actually, yeah, I'll do it with the first build up here first. We'll do something cool afterward. But it doesn't really matter what note you use for your white noise riser because it's just noise. Like everything sounds the same. Like so. So just any random note. But make sure it drags out for the whole 8 bars. Remember, to add a MIDI clip for 8 bars, just click and drag the length and press Control-Shift-M or Command-Shift-M if you're on a Mac. And that makes the MIDI clip out the full length. To get to the automation, just click on the parameter. So as you can see, this line over here is dragging up and down as I drag this. So I'm going to set it to the bottom, and then just the same as we did with our pitch riser, we're going to drag it, create the automation just by clicking on the line and dragging it up over time. Okay, so now if I listen to this, we'll listen to it by itself and with the music. So let's have a listen to this over 8 bars. Building in now. That's essentially it. And what we'll do now is we'll just listen to it with the music. Except with this one, remember we stopped the build up in time with that last clap. So we're just going to add a beat down there so it stops in time. That was my fault, apologies. All right, so now it creates a bit of silence into the drop. Now from here, what's very common is if we were to just make another 8-bar clip here. So again, Control-Shift-M and just add a random note in because again, it's noise. Doesn't make any difference what note it is. What's very common is for it to automate back down after a drop. So let's just have a listen to this effect again. Listen to these 16 bars here and see how it sounds with the white noise coming back down. So that actually works quite well. What you can do with the automation, if I was to drag my mouse over the top so it turns blue and hold down the control key, I think it is. Sorry, it's the option on Mac, and I think it's control or alt on PC. I can't actually remember, but try both of them. But you'll see the mouse have a little curve next to it when I press the key. You can actually curve your automation down like that. So it'll drop down a bit quicker. So if we listen to that again, just from here. So now it has that impact, but kind of gets rid of it straight away. It doesn't hang on for so long. Moving on. So next bit here, we probably want to build into this section here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this across here, and I'm just going to redraw in the automation like so. So it builds up into this section. To get rid of these nodes, by the way, you just kind of if you hold your mouse and it just selects one, you can just click on them, they go away. If you select over and it selects 2, I think it just adds another one. Yeah, it doesn't do anything like that. So you just have to make sure, because you can see the 2 nodes, the one at the top and the one at the bottom is selected like that. So you just click on one when there's just one selected, and that will get rid of the nodes that I'm clicking in there. So then over here, it builds up into this section. And what I'm going to do is another kind of common technique is instead of coming back down all the way in this section, I'm going to come back to about halfway, so 0.5. So it's going to create like a downwards impact here, but then come back up towards the end. So let's just have a listen to maybe this section here and see how it sounds. Cool, so the white noise just adds more tension, more release to the track. So it works in conjunction with that pitch riser, and it's kind of up to you where you use them. There's no right or wrong, but generally, like you see professional producers and stuff like that, they'll have white noise that just runs through the whole track, and these automation lines just kind of turn it up and down whenever it needs it. So, it's quite common to just see, this all the way through the track, and you'll see some coming down and then some coming back up and all that sort of stuff all the way through the track. But use it in building into sections. So you can see clearly we've got a section here. We've got a section here because where the drums come in, we've got a section here. So use it building in and out of sections to kind of create that tension release and make your drops and your build-ups a lot bigger. Just one last quick tip. If you want to delete automation, all you have to do is highlight it. So click and drag around it and press Command or Control backspace on your keyboard. So it depends which you're using, PC or Mac. And that will delete the automation. Another way to do it is to actually just highlight it, right click on the automation and just go cut or delete envelope. And that will get rid of the automation as well. So just an easy way if you've accidentally clicked a lot of things in, you want to get rid of them, instead of having to go through and clicking on all these nodes one by one, you can go through, just highlight and Control delete automation.